After 2 days in the bustling city of Marrakesh, we left it behind, heading towards Fez. But first, we would spend 2 nights at the edge of the Sahara Desert. So we drove southeast, crossing the rugged Atlas Mountains. The landscape was breathtaking. A quick stop to stretch our legs. Stalls line the roadside, selling colorful paintings. And in the distance, Ait Ben Haddou, a fortified village made of clay, taking us hundreds of years back in time. Teapots, Bedouin knives, desert stones, and African wooden masks gleamed under the afternoon sun. We crossed the river and entered the village. Only a few people still live here. Most have moved to the newer town nearby. Many of the old buildings have turned into shops selling souvenirs. Carpets, fabrics, and clothes added a burst of color to the earthy tones of the clay walls. We climbed to the top of the village. From up there, the view was stunning. The river, the palm trees, the mountains in the distance. It felt peaceful, almost timeless. These impressive structures, untouched by time, have been the perfect setting for major film productions over the past 70 years. Jesus of Nazareth, the Bible, Gladiator, just to name a few. The road to the Sahara was long, so we headed toward Tinghir, a small town along the way, where we could enjoy a refreshing shower and spend the night. The next day started with a short walk around Tinghir. Although this part of Morocco is quite dry, the presence of a small river made all the difference, transforming the landscape completely. The villagers cultivate the land in a traditional and rather primitive way, trying not to waste a single drop of the precious water. Their only company, birds enjoying the morning coolness, some singing, others searching for food in the freshly watered soil. Another quiet village. Mud brick houses standing at the edge of a palm forest, blending with the earth around them. There were no people in sight, just silence and the rustling of palm leaves in the wind. And then, the landscape changed once again. Towering cliffs rose on both sides as we entered Todga Gorge, one of Morocco's most striking natural wonders. We continued our journey toward Merzouga, a small town on the edge of the Sahara. The scenery remained the same. Mud brick houses, some abandoned, others still lived in, all blending into the same earthy tones. Palm trees, but not only. Vegetation struggling to survive in the sandy soil and the warm wind blowing in from the desert. The first sand dunes began to appear. The landscape is now dry, yet still holds on to patches of green, mostly palm trees, slowly growing fewer and fewer. As we move further, the dark, rocky ground gives way to the fine golden sand of the desert. The first groups of camels begin to appear. We have reached the departure point. Some camels are already waiting patiently for their riders. More keep arriving as more and more travelers gather. The desert ride is about to begin. We left the Sahara early in the morning. A quiet stillness covered the desert. Nothing but the soft breeze brushing over the dunes. A long road lay ahead before reaching Fez. But the final destination was worth every bit of the journey. Our hotel was a beautifully restored riad, designed with great taste and attention to every detail. The riad's central patio was a haven of peace. Ornate tilework covered the floors and walls, heavy wooden doors, carved stucco decorations, and bronze lamps glowing above the ever-present pool of running water, a symbol of prosperity, life, and purification. A living space that felt calm, balanced, and quietly beautiful. And the hospitality, truly exceptional. If one considers the souks of Marrakesh a maze, then they've clearly never wandered through those of Fez. Narrower, darker, and even more tangled. Here, the alleys seem to fold endlessly into one another. The atmosphere is less polished, more raw and authentic. This is not a place dressed up for tourists. It is real, local, alive. Crowds push through the tight passageways, filling them with noise and movement. Merchants call out from every side, and the air buzzes with voices, haggling, greetings, and laughter. Stalls overflow with leather bags and belts, hand-woven textiles, ceramics, and baskets of fresh produce, a riot of color and scent in every direction. It is overwhelming, yet captivating. A chaotic beauty that pulls you in and doesn't let go. Behind sparkling glass displays, trays overflow with traditional Moroccan sweets, honey-drenched pastries, sesame-covered delights, and date-filled confections stacked in perfect symmetry. And then come the scents. Sweet dates and roasted nuts stacked high on the stalls, and the sharp, unmistakable smell of fresh meat hanging in open air, right next to the passing crowds. A woman prepares dough by hand, stretching it gently and laying it over a hot stone dome. An old method, still alive in these streets. The Medina of Fez was founded in the 9th century and is one of the oldest and best preserved medieval cities in the Arab Muslim world. In 1981, it was designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And among all this noise and movement, you suddenly pass by breathtaking carved facades. The architecture reflects the city's rich cultural legacy. Many buildings feature traditional Moorish designs. Intricate geometric patterns, arabesques, and calligraphic motifs carved into wood, plaster, and glazed ceramic tiles. Fez's Medina is not just a marketplace, it's a living museum, a place where history and everyday life exist side by side. We stepped into the courtyard of the Bu Inania Madrasa, a masterpiece bathed in sunlight, right in the heart of the old city. What strikes you first is the harmony. So many different materials, each with its own texture and color, come together without ever disturbing the elegance of the whole. The floors are marble, cool and smooth underfoot. Tiles climb the walls up to 2 meters high. Above that, white stucco, finely carved, blends into dark cedar wood on the upper walls and heavy doors. Every inch is decorated with the finest craftsmanship, And yet, despite all the detail, the madrasa doesn't overwhelm. It remains simple, balanced, and quietly majestic. Some of the old funduks have been beautifully restored, their original character preserved with care. Today, they house artisan shops and charming places to stay, where the past blends in harmony with the present. We now find ourselves in the metalworking quarter. Shops with handcrafted brass and copper treasures. Trays, teapots, lanterns, and candle holders, all engraved with intricate detail. In nearby workshops, artisans shape and texture the metal with steady hammer blows, a rhythm that echoes through the narrow lanes. The concert of hammers mixes pleasantly with the murmur of voices beneath the old tree in Sepharine Square. An open-air workshop and a living tribute to Moroccan craftsmanship. Visitors stand by with cameras, trying to capture not just the scene, but the sound and soul of the place. However, it's perhaps in the dying workshops that Fez speaks most vividly to the senses. Narrow alleyways blaze with color, lined with tiny shops where skeins of wool and folded fabrics mix like pigments on a painter's palette. Steam curls from the vats, carrying the sharp scent of dye through the air. Buckets of intense colors crowd the entrances. The walls are splashed, the cobblestones soaked, and the hands of the artisans are forever marked by their craft, as if the color has chosen to live there. The Chawara Tannery, perhaps the most iconic spot in the city and one of its main tourist attractions. A sea of stone vats filled with white liquids and rich, earthy dyes. Hides from cows, sheep, goats, and camels are first soaked in a mixture of lime and pigeon droppings, a traditional method used to clean and soften the skins. The process takes 2 to 3 days, preparing them to fully absorb the color. Then they're moved into dyeing vats, where natural pigments take over. Poppy for red, indigo for blue, henna for orange. Once dyed, the hides are laid out under the sun to dry. The resulting leather is then passed on to skilled artisans, who transform it into Morocco's prized leather goods. Bags, jackets, slippers, sought after for their vivid colors and fine quality. So our journey to Morocco comes to an end. The colors of the souks, the sounds, the smiles, impressions etched deep in memory. But it's also the flavors enjoyed in the shade of a rooftop terrace, the warm welcome inside lovingly restored riads, and those vivid scenes found only in Africa. These are the memories we carry with us as we leave.